You buy Bitcoin, you hold it for more than 4 years, Joe. That's my advice to everybody.
For anyone, buy it and hold it for more than 4 years. And then you think eventually it takes how much, let's say it is digital gold, what percentage of gold's market cap does it finally?
Bitcoin's 0.1% of the capital in the world right now. I think it's going to go to 7% of the capital.
7%.
My long-term forecast is it's going to go to 13 million over 21 years.
13 million.
13 million. But what is it 5 years from now? In your 4-year calculus.
It's been growing 44% a year with about a 40 to 50 vol. I would think it'll move on at 40%, then click down to 35, then 30, then 25. And at some point, it'll be the S&P return plus 8%, and it'll be the S&P vol plus 8%, because it's always going to be a more global, open, free capital market. Bitcoin's an expression in this view that you want to invest in an asset without counterparty risk, which means you don't want to be counterparty to a country, a currency, a city, a company, a commodity, or a culture, right? So people think it's a risky thing. It's all about people wanting to not take risk. They don't want to guess whether Picasso's or real estate in New York or NVIDIA stock will be higher in 10 years. They want to buy money. They want to buy 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world forever.
So there you have Michael Saylor. He's in this clip telling you Bitcoin's going to $13 million per coin. We showed you in previous videos, Microstrategy just bought more Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's still at it. They're up to 280,000 Bitcoin. Well, how high can they get as far as the amount of Bitcoin they get? So you have to take the numbers, multiply them. If it hits 13 million like he's saying, by the number of Bitcoin, that's a really big company valuation. But we'll look at that and see how much Bitcoin MicroStrategy could attain and by when. Watch this video to the end. And with that, what's happening, Crypto Crew? We're getting straight into it. If you like this type of MicroStrategy content, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Hey guys, sorry for the quick interruption, but if you're interested in trading MicroStrategy options, any other stock out there, Bitcoin, Solana, or any other crypto out there, you can now do that on MooMoo. And if you sign up with our affiliate link, which we pin in the comment section, also in the description below, when you sign up and deposit any amount, you're going to receive up to 20 free stocks, and each one of these stocks could be valued at up to $2,000. So make sure to sign up with MooMoo. Go get that free money. Now let's go ahead and get back to the video.
And with that, if you're trying to get plugged in with the Bitcoin Bros community, make sure you check us out, patreon.com/Bitcoin Bros. We're going to be giving you straight alpha of what we're doing, the exact playbook the Bitcoin Bros are doing, call options, call alerts, all of the above. Check out patreon.com/Bitcoin Bros. Getting straight into it, at the current time it's recording, Bitcoin's coming in at $88,500. And if we zoom into this price action, we see that we cooled off a little bit. You see we ran up over the past day. We had probably one of the biggest candles in Bitcoin history, 79.6 all the way up to 90,000, a $10,000 candle right here. Not the body, you gotta look at the wicks, but you get the picture. But you see we had this pullback down to about 85,000. What we want to look at, if we do get a cool off, you want to give this 20 moving average an opportunity to catch up. That's what's going to be the pogo stick in the bull market. So it's either Bitcoin's going to start trading in the channel while this just slowly starts to creep up over the next couple days. Altcoins might take off in that time. But once this 20 moving average catches up or this price action comes back down, it's going to have a bounce off of this. Whenever that happens, we could have a continuation to the upside. We're not saying that this leg is done. MicroStrategy tracker. Look at MicroStrategy current time this recording is coming in at 356. Company valuations up to $72 billion. And as you see, MicroStrategy just keeps jumping the ranks. When will the inclusion happen? Lots of bullishness coming. That's the 279,420. Not quite 280. I said 280 earlier, but you get it. But check this out. The NAV premium is almost up to 3 at 2.94x. Will we see the NAV premium continue to stair step its way up? MicroStrategy after hours It's still trading around 352. It dropped a few points, but it's still sitting right over 350. We'll see what Bitcoin does at the open. It'll pull the market up with it, or might get a cool off. You gotta be patient. And look at this NAV multiplier. You see Bitcoin's prices from 75 to 500,000. The NAV multiplier gets extremely, extremely bullish. Final MicroStrategy stock price, you see all the corresponding prices. So what will we see Bitcoin at 125? Will that be a 578 MicroStrategy price? I think that this might be a little bit shortcoming. Now, not sure how they got these figures here, but if Bitcoin goes up to 125,000, let's just do some math really quick. Current time is recording, we were at 88.5. So how high a percent move would Bitcoin have to do to get to 125? 88.5 times 0.42. Add that to the 88.5. So roughly it's a 42% move. So if we keep this NAV here, this NAV, let's just round this up to 3 because it's almost there. If we keep this NAV at 3, so that means you take the 0.42 times 3. So that would be a 126% move. So that really be a 2.26x from where MicroStrategy is right now, around 350, give or take, 791. So that's why we're not really agreeing with this price here. You see at 125, the NAV's even higher. We had it at 3. So, you got these numbers, not sure where all this is coming from. So, but you get the picture. The bigger picture is as the Bitcoin price increases, the NAV's going to increase. But back to the bigger question, how many Bitcoin can MicroStrategy obtain? Here's a fun fact. Norway's central bank owns 1.578 million shares of MicroStrategy. Switzerland's central bank owns 468,000 shares of MicroStrategy. How many shares do you own? Here's an MSTR, an analyst here, Dan Hillary, shout out to him. He's going into a deep dive and showing us his charts as to how much Bitcoin MicroStrategy can actually obtain and by when. Check out this video. You don't want to miss it.
But I really wanted to wrap my head around, okay, what does this mean in terms of Bitcoin? How many Bitcoin are they going to actually acquire? And I know it's something we talk about a lot, will they get to 1% of the Bitcoin supply, which they did? Will they get to 2%? Will they get to 5%? I needed to use a spreadsheet and model it out, put some targets in place just to see, okay, what does this mean and how many Bitcoin will they actually get to? What's it mean for their market cap? What's it mean for their Bitcoin per share yield? All of these metrics that we're trying to keep track of and that there's really no historical precedent for. So I tried to make sense of it. For anyone unfamiliar with the 42 plan or the 21 plan, it's just a capital raising target for the purpose of purchasing Bitcoin that's split between fixed income and at the market equity selling. And it's supposedly going to be split evenly with an increasing buy schedule over 3 years. You can see it here in this slide. Historically, MicroStrategy has actually outperformed their Bitcoin per share metric, which they're targeting to be around 10% annually. 6 to 10% is what they're reporting is their goal. This year, they're over 17% already annualized. And I wanted to see, okay, what sort of Bitcoin per share yield, which is a metric we use to figure out how much value we're gaining as MSTR shareholders relative to our number of Bitcoins held per share. What does the 21 plan mean? How does it map out in terms of specific Bitcoin prices? What kind of BTC yield will we be looking at over the next 3 years and then potentially moving forward? And Bitcoin per share yield is it's a metric for anyone who's unfamiliar. It's a metric of the total amount of Bitcoin that MSTR holds divided by the total diluted market cap of MSTR. So that includes any sort of conversions for convertible debt, right? That includes the number of outstanding shares after those conversions take place. So the first little model I have here is there's plenty of assumptions and I want to lay them out before we get into anything. So let me zoom in a little bit. I assume, so the 21 plan is over the next 3 years. Okay, so this model just looks forward for 3 years, and it's not really a valuation model, it's more of a Bitcoin acquisition model. Mm-hmm. And what I assume is a 38% Bitcoin CAGR over the next 3 years. Anyone familiar with the power law, that's what the power law says. Even just based on Saylor's kind of diminishing exponential model, that would be 38% seems reasonable. That's not to mention spikes and troughs, whatever. Let's block out the noise. Then that puts us at around over 200K per coin Q4 2027, and just steadily increasing for the purposes of this model. Now, this is the quarterly capital raise in billions, and that's split between half at the market equity selling and fixed income products. And I break it up evenly over quarters to hit those annual targets, which you can see here: 10 billion 2025, 14 billion in 2026, 18 billion in 2027. That's broken down here. Now, half convertible bonds, half at the market selling, and I put a 40% conversion premium on the at the market on the convertible bond. So the conversion premium is just the conversion price, how far above the current price of MicroStrategy as it's trading in the market, that the conversion price is priced at for those convertible notes, and that affects the dilution as a result of conversion when those bonds inevitably convert.
So let's look at this chart here and check out what Dan pulled together. We see it's sort of cut off here. Oh, there we go. We can see everything here. But you see Q4, Q1, Q2, Q3, all the way down to the end of 2027. And you see here, MicroStrategy just made a buy a day ago, and he's had this chart. And based off of his figures and what MicroStrategy's been doing, you can see how closely this aligns. You see here, after this Q1 of 2025, he actually almost got this very accurately. It was about 279 and some change as far as what saylor accumulated up to, and his model's showing 280. So this is showing over the next 3 years how MicroStrategy can accumulate and amass over 550,000 Bitcoin. Now, could it end up being more than this? Because you got all different types of liquidity pools when you're talking about S&P inclusion and all these bullish catalysts that are happening for MicroStrategy. Could this number be closer to 1 million? We would not discount that. So what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? So you need to just understand some simple math here. You take whatever amount of Bitcoin MicroStrategy has, and then you multiply it by the current Bitcoin price. So right now they're around 280,000 Bitcoin, and you multiply that by the current Bitcoin price around 88,000. And that gives you what their Bitcoin value is. And they actually have this on the MSTR tracker. If you look at right here, their Bitcoin balance, Bitcoin holdings is $24.579 billion. So what you have to do is understand that that is the underlying asset that MicroStrategy sits on top of. But MicroStrategy is trading at a premium because you see, even though it's $24.579 billion, the company value has $72 billion in market capitalization. So you're talking about almost a 50 billion delta from the actual market cap to the underlying asset value, meaning that there's a premium there. And that's based off of demand, that's based off dilution, that's based off of NAV. There's a lot of other variables that go into that. But this chart holds true from the stance of the MNAV increasing as Bitcoin increases, and Dan's chart holds true to them amassing over 500,000 Bitcoins. If Bitcoin hits that $13 million threshold that Michael Saylor's talking about, what number would that take you up to? Let's just use the underlying asset here. 13 million times 550,000 Bitcoin. So let's do that math for you really quick. So we pulled up our handy dandy calculator here, and we're going to do that math. We're going to do 13 million multiplied by 550,000. So you're talking about 7.15 e to the 12th. So this is some moon math for you guys. So this is a $7.15 trillion valuation. Now, here's the kicker. This is just the underlying asset. That's not incorporating any type of premium. If it's 2x of this, you're talking about 14 trillion. It really makes you wonder how much value this MicroStrategy play really could be. So looking at the current company valuation at 72 billion, that's 100x from right now. So every dollar you put in would turn into 100 the current time this recorded. So that's the big value proposition, the investing opportunity, why MicroStrategy could continue to print money nonstop. If you don't get it, you're not going to get it, but we hope that you do. At least try to get on the train before it leaves. And with that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. If you guys like this MicroStrategy alpha that we're dropping on you, go ahead and smash that like button. All the likes count. Subscribe. We appreciate your support. And with that, I'm out.